I actually was raised in church. Growing up, I don't remember not going to church when the doors were open, and I kind of think I was forced to do that. Not that that was a bad thing, but that's how I looked at it, and I knew I looked at church a lot like things to do and not to do, and not necessarily focusing on a relationship with Jesus. So I kind of struggled with trying to do those right things and not do the wrong things. And when I wasn't winning that struggle and winning those battles, I just kind of gave up when I graduated. So I didn't have to go to church anymore because my parents weren't making me. And I was in college, so I lived the party lifestyle and graduated college and still continued on in the party lifestyle. And then Mike and I met.
Pretty much did the same thing, turned 21, lived for the world. I was raised up in church and charismatic, Assembly of God. So, and then went through, several bad marriages, and a buddy of mine told me about Harvest. And so I came in, and Pastor Ralph was talking about something this morning about not falling asleep in church, but I had been to the point where I was on such high alert all the time, just to survive pretty much. I came in and I just felt the peace of God, and I literally almost fell asleep, but it's not a bad thing in that it was just a peace that I felt here. So, I'd like to say then I gave my life back to Christ, and everything was all good, but we met. We were still, living out in the world, partying. We were both bartenders and doing the whole bar scene. And I said, I really, really wanted to do this one right, because it's my third marriage. And I knew the last two, I did it on my own and it didn't work. And I was like, I knew better. So I was like, I'm gonna let God lead me and do what I'm supposed to do. So I came to a membership class because the feeling I got from coming to Harvest initially, and sat through the class, and everything was good. Everything was wonderful. We were shacking up, living in sin. And long story short, I came back home, and because Pastor Ralph said, before you take the vows, you have to acknowledge the fact that you're not going to live in willful sin anymore. And he was, talking about homosexuality. And I was like, okay, cool. And drugs and drinking. I was like, okay, that's all good. And are you living outside of wedlock? And I was like, oh. So I went home and I told Crystal, I was like, we got to get married. And she was like, I was like, I got to move out. And so we made a decision to give our hearts over to Jesus.
But once we finally made that decision, we got married. That decision to no longer live in willful sin was a turning point for us. It was huge. It was where, that's what I look at as kind of Christ just completely changing us. And from then on, we have been seeking Him, and by no means is it an easy road, but
it's peaceful.
It's peaceful, yeah, definitely. And we're so connected to Harvest. We just love it here because of all the people. Like he said, when he came in and just felt the peace of God, I felt that too, because he said, hey, I went to this church once, and so we started going. And just everything's authentic. People are real here.
Yeah, the authenticity is what
and that's the biggest thing. And we love it here.